One of my nga moments back in 2012 was when I saw a colleague of mine ride into the office compound on a really cool bike. This guy, by the way, hosts one of the best moto podcasts that you should check out. Tunay na rider. Shout out to Iba. He the man. He was the one who convinced me to go back to bikes. How? He rolled in one day on a Royal Enfield Chrome Maroon 500. And I'm like, phew, nga. I got hooked. I ended up with a black chrome a few weeks later. Then after that, a Continental GT, the first yellow one in the country, I believe. Now that we are going down memory lane, I also remember performing in India in the Madras Music Festival with Human Folk. And the highlight of that trip was, the concert. But what I felt the whole time was the excitement of checking out Royal Enfield stores and buying accessories at half the price. Pakyao! I bought what I could, as much as what was allowed for check-in. I must say, I've had nothing but good memories with Royal Enfield. The greatest motorcycle adventure for me, to this day at least, was on a Himalayan going to the Himalayas. That was the best. Have you seen that video yet? Here's a recap.
Squint your eyes and look closer. I'm not between you and your ambition. I am a poster girl with no poster. I am 32 flavors and then some, and I'm beyond your peripheral vision. So you might wanna turn your head, 'cause one day you might find you were hungry and eating most of the words you just said. Parents have taught me about goodwill, and I have done right by their name. Just the kindness they lavished on strangers is more than I can explain.
Now, looks like we're gonna add more good memories with this brand. Welcome to Makina Moto Features. This, folks, is the updated Royal Enfield staple, the Classic 350 in chrome bronze. One of the challenges manufacturers like Royal Enfield face is how to move forward with a design that can't get old. Why? Because it looks old and classy already. They can't radically change their design either, because if they did that, they would be going outside their core, and this core has worked for Royal Enfield for decades. That said, I applaud Royal Enfield for still pushing what they can out of an age-old design. The all-new Classic 350 is a prime example of reworking what they have and coming up with significant improvements.
Summer nights and long days are stolen as the old moon falls, and the mirror shows another face, another place to hide.
Just a quick backstory here, the Classic 350 came out in 2008, inspired by the post-war Royal Enfield G2. This year, we have the same sexy, hot body of a motorcycle, but with notable improvements. So what are the changes? The chassis is now a twin down tube, so it's more rigid and more stiff than John Holmes on a randy day. The brakes are better performing, it's got a larger diameter now. ABS, of course. The seat is more comfy. It's wider for more ass real estate.
I was lying on the grass on Sunday morning of last week, indulging in my...
The highlight of the bike for me at this point is how they somehow got rid of the vibrations. Now, to a true blue Royal Enfield fan, this is preposterous. 1. The vibrations are part and parcel of what a Royal Enfield is. It's an inherent trait loved by many. With an engine design like that, how did they achieve it? It's like magic. They have a balancer shaft now to help smoothen things out. Another thing that is greatly improved is the shifting. Now, this is a Royal Enfield quirk that I can do without. So here's a lesson if you have an older Enfield. If it won't get into first gear, you gotta nudge the bike forward, then shift. Just move it a bit. Took me some time, but I figured it out. This Classic 350 threw out all of that stress. Shifting gears properly will now be the norm with this bike. Enfield, the new Classic 350. As I mentioned before po, nagkaroon po tayo ng ganito, the Classic 500. Really no complaints with that one. It had all the quirks that goes with the Royal Enfield. So, ang mga naalala kong mga issues and quirks with the old one, again, I always also say na wala pong perfectong motor. Actually, to each his own eh. Like for example, yung vibration ng dating Royal Enfield, okay ako dun eh. Some people complain about it. Ako, I'm fine. So, they improved on that. They took out the vibration with this bike. Ako naman, OC ako sa finish kasi yung mga singit-singit dito, sometimes there are some surface rust. I mean, it's not rust na susuot sa bakal. Mga surface rust lang. So, the dealer, sina Hardcore Brothers, when I bought it, binigyan nila ako from India also na spray paint na parehong shade nito. So, that thing was solved. So, I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing any of those issues. So, from 2012, I think, when I bought my Royal Enfield, was that 2013? Super layo. Definitely nag-improve yung kanilang finishing. This just looks better. It's smoother, mas maganda yung definition ng highlights, and there's no surface rust in the welds. See? Very, very clean. Oh? That's a great improvement over there. In terms of painted panels na may kulay, ever since naman, siga talagang Royal Enfield dyan. When we visited the Royal Enfield factory, I was witness. Totoo yan. Hand stripe po to, pinin-stripe to, di kamay. Talagang meron silang mga tao doon. Ang galing lang magpinsay, kinakamay nilang ganyan yan. So, I also noticed, of course, the engine's totally redesigned. Even the machining of this is totally different from how it was machined and finished from the old. Mas okay to. I mean, I really like it. In fact, kung pagpipiliin nyo ako ngayon, this day and age, yung lumang 500 or bagong Classic 350. I know may highway issues tayo pero mukhang dito na ako. Obviously, mas tipid. You're gonna have less power but mas modern yung dating niya. Pero yung Classic 500, grabe din yun. Siga lang yan. It's just that ngayon, this day and age, kung pagtapat mo silang dalawa, the old and the new, dito na ako. So, in terms of yung bagong amenities natin, compared to the old, syempre iba na to. So, you got some digital aspects over here, fuel gauge, trip F. So, ito po yung switch niya. It's on the handlebar. That's the switch to jump. So from there, we are now at the time. Trip F, kung nagsusuot ka ng fuel consumption mo. So another update, well at least for me, hindi ko pa nararanasan tong switch sa Royal Enfield. Yung dating Royal Enfield, hindi ganito yung switch. So headlight, dim, tapos pass. So when you start it, ito yung start button natin dito. There you go. Wow! Okay. Hindi ko pa ito nasasakyan. Inuuna ko yung aking close-up talkies. Hindi ko pa nasasakyan yung motor at this point. Ngayon ko lang naranasan na walang vibration nga talaga. Kasi alam mo yung dati, pag start ko pa lang dito, nanginginig na siyang ganon. Excited tuloy akong sakyan to. Wow, interceptor level, no vibration ah. Really? So, walang vibration. Is this an Enfield? That's a matter of discussion. Let's go back. Just turn it on quick. I want you to hear the pea shooter exhaust. Grabe. Now, I can also tell you the response in this EFI Engine 350 is okay yung response niya. Konting pitik, nagre-respond kagad yung makina. Again, yung 500, hindi ganon, as far as I can remember. I see here is a kill switch for the side stand. Yung dating Enfield, wala rin ganito dati. This was not there before. So this is another added safety feature which I appreciate. Maraming salamat, Royal Enfield, na inad nyo po yan. Ayos yan. So another modern amenity for the Royal Enfield na wala noon is yung USB port, which is right under the left lever. So, ayan siya. There's the USB port, spring-loaded cover para protected siya sa weather and dust, and it's pretty tight. Fit and finish ng Royal Enfield, I have not one to complain about that. For me, yung dating ng Royal Enfield and how they now finish their bikes is really good and prime. Things that I would change, of course, you know, syempre, ano tayo eh, Mr. Custom, di naman natin to babalian ng husto. Little things that I would change the handlebars. Even with the old one, hindi ko type yung ganito. I'd probably just change it to something different. Maraming aftermarket for that. I would make this smaller. Malaki yung signal light, syempre for safety. Pero kung forma dating na pwedeng palitan, papalitan ko yan ng mas maliit. Same with the back. I would change this too to something smaller. I'm okay with that. I want to show you, I want to see what's on this side now. So bakal, and this is now plastic, less parts to rust, so that's a good thing. So this is where the battery, easy access sa baterya, madaling tanggalin, madaling palitan. This side, left side, you'll find your manual, and if you need to change your air filter, yan yun. Ang seat ng Royal Enfield is one of the comfortable seats out there. And I like how yung shape ng seats nila is a bit different from, again, what I remember from the older Enfield. This is mas trapezoidal. I mean, meron na siyang parang shinave off dito. Mas bilog yung seat. Before, it was a bit more square, if I recall correctly. The upholstery that they did here is also very, very nice. Meron pa siyang stitching. This is very, very comfortable for the pillion. So kung dalawa kayong magjowa or mag-asawa, kung sino man yung angkas mo, it's gonna be really, really comfortable for him or her. For the rider, like before, very, very comfortable. Very, very good seat. Now, in terms of custom and forma, yung dati ko, tinanggal ko na yan eh. Kasi yan, pag yan wala, sobrang pogi, kikita mo yung rear well ng motor mo. Pero syempre, we're showing this in its stock form. But the first thing I did, madali naman, tanggalable lang naman to, tanggalin na yan. Ito, pwede mo rin to ipaslim para pogi talaga. But again, as it is, pwede na yan. I mean, gamitin nyo muna kung bibili kayo ng ganyan. This is also an improvement with how this is finished. I don't know what they did here, kung anong klaseng polish or kung may top coat pa silang nilagay dito. I think there's top coat here. Yung dati, it was just straight metal. So this one has a nice sheen and coating to it na that's a pretty good improvement. One of the things that I've noticed even from also before is the fact that napaka-solid and napaka-beefy. Tibay talaga. So there's a sticker right here. Wala rin to before. Royal Enfield Quality Certified. Ako ay na-OC kasi tabingi siya. Let me just fix this because I like it orderly. Yan. Oh, diba? Hindi na tabingi. Oh, himayan. So, in terms of the side view mirror, bagay naman eh. It's classic looking. Importante sa akin, makapal siya at matibay at maganda. Pero, if I were to do, kasi dati nagkaroon ako ng chrome black, tas na-inlove ako sa mga non-chrome na Royal Enfield. So, ang maganda dito, kung hindi mo type chrome, kung mas type mo ang solid colors na Royal Enfield, mas mura yon kasi this is already the top of the line, which is also great. Why? Because, like for example, pag solid color na yan, pwede mo na pa-powder coat to ng itim. I'm not a big fan of chromey stuff. In fact, yung 500 was because maganda talaga yung bike na yan. Kahit hindi ako mahilig sa chrome, napabili ako ng black chrome. But yun nga, if this was a solid color motif bike, I would powder coat this black. Anything that's shiny, I can turn black, I will.
Gas consumption, my goodness, 34.781 kpl. You know, I'm not surprised. One of the selling points of the Chrome Black 500 I had before was the frugality with fuel. Tipid. And with the 350, it's there. So in riding the classic 350, because of all the upgrades, I can tell you that while it is a superior bike on paper, you will also feel that it is a better motorcycle over its predecessor. This new classic 350 will have people thinking twice before going for the 500. Now I'm talking about performance to price ratio here, okay? Not the ability to get on the highway legally. Without that baggage of highway accessibility to worry about, this bike is a compelling choice even over its bigger, older 500 brother.
Nice day today. Blue skies, a few clouds. So nakakatawa dito, Royal Enfield now in the Classic Series, meron po tayong ABS. Okay, so yung dati kong 500, wala naman ABS yun nun. But now meron. So we're gonna try it, see how it works. We're gonna start with the front first. Uy, may nagbibisikleta. Okay, slowly and gently. I was going about 30 kilometers per hour. Slow riding. Gonna slowly give more pressure to the brakes as we go along. Okay, hasn't kicked in yet. I'm gonna try more pressure, a bit faster, a bit like 40 kilometers an hour. Okay, brakes are good, but the ABS is not working yet, which is good. Wala pa tayo sa skid level. So let's try again. Okay, that's really hard. Braking there. Still cannot make the ABS work. Again, it's not a bad thing kasi hindi naman tayo nagsiskid. Bit faster na, maybe go up to maybe 45, 50, thereabouts. There, finally made the ABS work. So hard braking, as you can see, suspension will dip sa harap, so be mindful of that. You're gonna get a lot of pressure on your hands with the braking of this one, but the important thing, it takes a lot for it to skid. So that's a combination ng magandang gulong, maganda yung kapit. Siyempre pag buhangin, ibang usapan na yun, diba? So for the brakes, it's gonna take a lot. You have to be really fast before papaling ABS. Napagana naman natin yung ABS, but it's not gonna be kicking in
early on. So far so good. Pretty good braking sa harap ng Enfield. Okay, now we're gonna try the rear. Okay. Of course, the rear brakes more often than not naman talaga mas mahina sa harap. So I'm able to make it skid initially, pero mabilis pumalo naman yung ABS sa likod. Meaning, kung yung harap, it takes a lot more pressure bago pumalo yung ABS. Yung likod naman, mabilis mag-ABS. I remember before, mahilig tayo mag-fishtail sa Enfield, diba? Kasi magla-lock yung brake sa likod. Well, hindi nyo na magagawa yan dito. I wonder if there's an option in the future kung pwedeng tanggalin ang ABS like some bikes. Kasi syempre ang Enfield kilala sa pwede mag-off-road, diba? And some people don't like to use ABS in the dirt, diba? So para maging feeling superhero sila, diba? Pwede sila mag... So now we're gonna try both brakes. And right now, kung okay ang harap, okay likod, pag pinagsabay mo pa yan, very good stopping power. So again folks, cannot say this enough. Kung mag-brakes ka lang, depending on the situation. Pero if you're talking about braking without negotiating yung mga corners and you just need to really stop really quick, like so, use both. Very good braking here, Enfield. I'm really happy na nag-ABS kayo. Talagang in-up nyo na yung game nyo sa braking power ng Enfield. I mean, yun na yun, kompleto na. Diba? ABS na.
Having had relationships with a couple of Royal Enfields, having experienced rides to the Himalayas and all of that, and immersing oneself in the culture, how do I feel about all of these changes and improvements? Initially, when I first heard of all of these improvements, I was on the fence. I was in purist mode, with what I was used to. I'm generally not resistant to change, but with a bike like Royal Enfield, why mess around with something that's working? It's fine the way it is. It's not broke. Just leave it alone, right? But when I finally got some saddle time with this bike, I'm like, wow, hey, I can get used to this next generation of Enfields. Not bad. They really did make it better while still keeping a foot in the classic world. I always say this, there is no perfect bike out there, but I'd also say there would be exceptions for those that are close to perfection, especially if we take into consideration what a bike is trying to achieve and at what cost. This bike is an Enfield through and through. Price $250,000, right? The price to what the bike can offer is incredible. So much value here, so much motorcycle. In fact, if not for that whole highway rule here in Luzon, I'd choose this over the existing 500 any day. In a snap, I won't even think twice. Speaking of the 500, if they were able to do this to the 350, imagine what they're planning for their flagship as well, huh? Exciting times ahead indeed. The Royal Enfield Classic 350. This is Makinamoto features. Oh, by the way, the Makinamoto show is happening July 29, 30, and 31. 3 days, 4 halls, 1 motorcycle industry. Royal Enfield will be there, of course. They always are. Great deals, a good time, a fantastic weekend. We'll see you in the flesh. This is Zach. This is Makinamoto features. Ciao.